At the Sports History Network, we're proud to introduce you to a new sponsor for our podcasts. It's Home Field Apparel, your premium collegiate apparel brand right out of Indianapolis. They've got incredibly comfortable t-shirts, plus they're officially licensed with vintage college designs. They have over 150 plus colleges available now and always adding more. Homefield digs through the archives and history of your school to find unique logos, mascots, and moments to make thoughtful designs for your school. When you shop today, new customers can get a 15% discount off their first purchase using the promo code SPORTSHISTORY at checkout. You can learn more at homefieldapparel.com.
Oh, we love to talk about the sports history. And in this episode, some timely hitting by a baseball star ignited the crowd into cheers as their team won the game in a late season September 26, 2005 MLB contest, and one player heard
the roar of the crowd. We remember those instances of great sports moments by the gifted participants at just the right moment in time. This is a presentation from which those great moments in sports history are revived. Come listen to the roar of the crowd presented by Big Pen Sports.
Hello, my friends of sports history. This is Darren Hayes of the Sports Jersey Dispatch podcast, and welcome to another Roar of the Crowd episode, this time for September 26th. Before we get to your great play that happened on this date, we're going to tell you about, we have an email newsletter. It comes out each and every day, tells you everything that's coming out of the pig pen. We got Pigskin Dispatch, we've got Jersey Dispatch, we've got Orville Mulligan, and lots of things from the Sports History Network as well, too. All you have to do is go to the show notes of this very podcast, click email subscription, put two pieces of information, tomorrow morning, 6:30 a.m. Eastern, and every day you will have that newsletter right in front of you to know everything that's happening as it goes. You can also subscribe to this podcast and Pigskin Dispatch podcast to know as soon as those release as well at your favorite podcast provider. Now, September 26, 2005 saw a race for the division lead in the American League Central when Chicago traveled to Detroit for a series. The Chicago White Sox were hanging on to a 3-game lead over their closest rival in the division, the Cleveland Indians, when they met up with the Detroit Tigers. The Indians would be facing off against the Tampa Bay Rays later in the evening, so when the score of the Chi Sox and Tigers game was tied going into the ninth, there was a bit of trepidation in the air. The Detroit squad that season was already out of contention, some 20-odd games out of the division race, and had no shot at the American League wild card spot either. The Tigers were simply playing for pride in a role of a possible spoiler. All the pressure was on the White Sox, and they knew it. Tied at the score of 3-all, the White Sox had runners in scoring position at second and third with only one out in the inning. Sox catcher A.J. Przinsky was struck out by the Tigers hurdler Jamie Walker. And then Detroit sent in the arm of Chris Sperling, who would turn in and sat down Chicago hitter Jermaine Dye on strikes, a very good hitter in himself. The Tigers got out of a jam with some great pitching from their veterans. The score was knotted at 3 when the Sox batted at the top of the inning, as Detroit failed to do much offensively on their side of the 8th inning. The Chicago defense, with Fernando Rodney on the mound, kept any Tigers runners from tapping home plate in that inning. That set the stage for the Tigers at bats in the bottom of the inning. Up to bat first in the 9th inning for the Tigers was second-year outfielder number 28, Curtis Granderson. The Detroit Slugger stepped into the batter's box with the White Sox veteran right-handed pitcher Cliff Polite, number 18, on the mound. First pitch was a called strike, and it put the batter in an 0-1 hole. Oh, the pressure. On the next pitch, Granderson saw something he liked, and he swung hard. He connected, and the ball went, and back over the left field wall of Tiger Stadium, and he trotted the bases, hearing the roar of the crowd. Well, that blast lifted the Tigers to a 4-3 walk-off victory, and more importantly, dropped the White Sox lead to 2 games in the division race over the Indians. In the aftermath, it was a happy ending in the long run for Chicago, even though they lost the game. The Indians lost that day to the Rays later, and never did catch the Sox in the race, finishing some 6 games behind them. Chicago, well, they finished strong with a 99-63 record in the regular season and first place in the American League Central Division. They were on a tear that wouldn't soon end as they got hot right at the right time. In the American League playoffs, the White Sox won the American League Division Series by a score of 3-0 over the defending World Series champion Boston Red Sox. Then the American League Championship Series, 4-1 win over the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. And the World Series, they won 4-0 over the Houston Astros, ending an 88-year championship drought and bringing that World Series championship to a beleaguered Chicago city that hadn't seen one in quite some time. And there is your Roar of the Crowd. Glad you could join us for this little bit of sports history and with a little twist and bringing back some great memories of some great players in a great event and timely hitting for Mr. Curtis Granderson. Hope you'll join us tomorrow for some more. In the meantime, you can go to sportshistorynetwork.com, pigskindispatch.com, or our own jerseydispatch.com for more great sports history. Until tomorrow, everybody, have a great sports history day. Sorry, but my pitching coach just called timeout and he's coming out to the mound. I think I'm going to get yanked for a reliever. We'll see you back tomorrow for some more great sports history on Sports Jersey Dispatch Podcast. We invite you to check out our websites, jerseydispatch.com and pigskindispatch.com. Not only see the daily sports history, but to experience the preservation of great events and people that play the games. Find us on Pigskin Dispatch. It's also on social media outlets of Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and don't forget the Pigskin Dispatch YouTube channel to get all your daily sports history. Pigskin Dispatch is happy to be associated with the Sports History Network, the sports headquarters of yesteryear, found at sportshistorynetwork.com.
This podcast is part of the Sports History Network, your headquarters for the yesteryear of your favorite sport. You can learn more at sportshistorynetwork.com.
It was just another ordinary day in the offices of the Pittsburgh Guardian newspaper circa 1924. But for Marla Delft, assistant editor, everything was about to change. For she was about to discover the awesome attractiveness of Row 1 brand retro sports paraphernalia items thanks to Orville Mulligan, sports writer.
And there it is.
Wow, Orville, that's really the bee's knees.
Isn't it just? A poster-sized replica of the actual 1909 World Series program cover.
I can see that. But where did you get it? And where'd you get it framed?
I ordered it from the Row 1 website, where over 6,000 items of sports memorabilia from the 1880s to the 1990s are available for reproduction, in multiple sizes and in several different materials, with over a dozen styles of frame to choose from for prints like this.
Well, I'm sure Mr. Delft would love to put up more of these in the office. But I'm equally as sure they're beyond this newspaper's budget.
Not at all, my dear Marla. See for yourself. Go to sportshistorynetwork.com/row1.
sportshistorynetwork.com/row1. Oh my, these are good prices. Oh, and look at this stuff. Oklahoma-Nebraska football, college basketball art, Michael Jordan items.
And so it
retro
was that
sports
Marla Delft
advertisement
discovered the
classics.
splendiferous magic of Row 1 sports memorabilia, arts, and prints. You can too by visiting sportshistorynetwork.com/row1. That's ROW1 today for access to the full Row 1 catalog of gallery prints and gifts like t-shirts, long-sleeve shirts, telephone cases, coffee mugs, blankets, pillows, towels, and even shower curtains. Act today for 15% discount off all prints with coupon code SHN15 and 20% off all other items with coupon code SHN20 at checkout. And keep your dial locked to the Sports History Network for the exciting chronicles of the 1920 sports world in Orville Mulligan, sports writer. Coming soon.